I bet you're wondering why the guy from Incredibles that had a crush on Violet is talking to you today. Turns out I'm just a massive nerd, so I dressed like this on purpose. I can't explain it either. I also want to preface that I've been looking at my phone for like at least a minute trying to figure out where the fucking camera is because I'm a film student and I know these things. To tell you a little bit about myself, I'm Cass and I'm an English and Film Studies major, which is why my eye doctor hates me. I study at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland, which is really crazy because I'm from Baltimore, Maryland, and middle class, and everyone there is like Scottish or English and very posh, so it's a bit of a culture shock, gotta say. Basically, I wanted to make a video talking about the sort of practical stuff that no one tells you before you go to St. Andrews that I wish someone had told me, but no one did. First of all, if you're like me and before you go to St. Andrews you've never been to St. Andrews, let alone Scotland, first thing you gotta know is that St. Andrews is the tiniest town ever. Like, it's 3 streets, and it's been 3 streets since like the 1200s. You cannot get away with making enemies in St. Andrews because you will see them everywhere. Like, you'll go to the Union and they'll be there. Christmas ball, you'll be with your date and you'll be having a fun time, and then who is that across the room? That one girl you had an argument with at 2 a.m. about nothing. Like, you cannot escape. It is a bubble, and they call it the bubble for a reason. Also, along those same lines, if you're gay in St. Andrews, you'll know every other gay in St. Andrews. Tesco is incredibly expensive, and Aldi is so wonderfully cheap, but you'll end up going to Tesco all the time unless you live in the Badlands, because Aldi is so far away. It is so far away. But I swear to God, do not use the distance as an excuse to not take yourself to the hospital, because I did, and like, I thought I was gonna die of jaundice for a couple days, so like, that's not the kind of stress you want to put on yourself, alright? If you already know what halls you're gonna be living in, definitely check out their floor plans if they have any, or their website. And if you live in DRA or ABH, I am so sorry. I am so genuinely sorry for you. Also, speaking of halls, I'm on the hall committee for Macintosh this year, 2020-2021. But, like, to that, you'll come in thinking, like, maybe you won't do, like, any sort of student government sort of things, and then you'll come out of it campaigning like you're a real genuine politician, and you'll be like, why? Why? I swear to you, it's the IR students, their influence on all of us. They just make us all think like we're politicians or something. As far as my recommendations for like entertainment and things, bearing in mind that these places are still open or something, I genuinely think that the Union gets a bad rap sometimes, but it's a pretty good place to go. The Rule is kind of cool if you've already got a group of people that you're going there with. Never go to the Vic. I don't know if it's still open, but yay! And like, you know, there are a couple other places in town, a couple other pubs. Aikman's, you know, it's the sort of like chill, almost university, almost like local bar, but it's like never both. Like a lot of the other pubs are like for kind of more for the people who live in St. Andrews who are from St. Andrews, so it's like for the golfers and the tourists rather than the university students, but you'll figure out where you like to go pretty quickly. Other fun things to do that nobody really likes to talk about, there's the botanical gardens that no one goes to, but they're really, really pretty, and if you live in St. Andrews, you can get in for free. There's Lade Braes Walk, which is kind of in town, kind of not in town. It's also really, really nice and a really great place to just kind of get out and take a breath. The beach walks are always really fun. There's like, you know, all the different sand, like, you know, sands that you can go to, beaches, West Sands, East Sands, Castle Sands, although a lot of people don't like Castle Sands. And you can go to the castle and the cathedral for free as well if you live in St. Andrews, which is so cool. Like, I wish that I could just hop over like a street over and just be like, hey, can I get into a medieval castle? As far as food goes, first of all, gotta say our prayers for Shawarma House. Rip Shawarma House. But I love Empire, especially at 2 in the morning when you're off your rocker and you have no clue what's going on, but you just want a pizza or chips and curry sauce. There's also Pret if you're a rich, posh, white person, which a lot of people are, or Starbucks, which is if you were American. There's Dr. Noodle, which is just like so good, and like I barely went there this year and I need to go there more often because it's just like genuinely such good food. There's Nando's, which I've been there so often. Like I love Nando's so much, and like I can't explain it to any of my American friends, but like it's just so good, it's so spicy, it's so lovely. I will say though, the one thing that St. Andrews lacks in terms of food is there are no Mexican restaurants. Nada. Like, you will be craving a taco so bad, and there's not a single place that will offer it at all. Now, there are so many societies in St. Andrews. Some of them are great, some of them not so great. There's also like very specific groups, like mermaids and the charities people that like every single member of St. Andrews is technically a part of, but like obviously you're not, you know, you don't have to do stuff with them, but like I am a theater kid, as you may be able to tell, and so I did a lot with mermaids this year, this past year, but this year I'm gonna be more doing stuff with like Filmmakers Society. But like if you are interested in something, there's probably a society for it, and if there isn't, you can probably find a group of people who are interested in it, and if you want to, you can make a society. But societies are actually like genuinely interesting to run, from what I've heard, but a lot of effort. So I don't know, if you're up for the challenge, might as well. Some of my personal favorite, like lesser known societies that I'm not necessarily a part of but I just think are cool, is like the Shire of Caer Celdon. I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, I'm probably not, but they're like all medieval reenactors and stuff, and they do like garb and like sword fighting, which is really, really fun, especially since my parents were both medieval reenactors, so like I should do stuff with them, but I'm not because I'm a kind of bit lazy. There's also Capoeira, which is just so cool. Like, I would never do it because I'm not athletic at all, but like Capoeira at St. Andrews. There's fencing, there's like a film society that just like does weekly film screenings, which like if you're a film studies student, you get like, you know, screenings for like your class, but if you're not a film studies student but you really like film, you can go to these, and they always have like events afterwards where they'll go to like one of the pubs and talk about the films and stuff. It's really, really fun. There's Disney Sock, there's like a gaming society that does like tabletop RPGs, dice, that's what it is, and there's also the radio, which is really fun, and anyone can really host a radio show. All you got to do is apply. Like, I hosted a radio show this past semester. I'm gonna try and see if I can host it again. So yeah, it's really easy, and they're a bunch of really nice people, and also like you get to be a radio host. You get to be a radio host for an hour a day, once a week. That is just so fun. Also, when it comes to social stuff, like everything is on Facebook. Like, I didn't even use Facebook at all before going to St. Andrews because I'm not a boomer, but like everything is on Facebook. They'll have like Facebook groups for like the poll party things, and like I have a couple Facebook groups that I've made for like Elder Scrolls fans and like posting memes and stuff. So like if you don't have a Facebook or you don't use Facebook often, it's either Facebook or Instagram, and that's it in terms of like people's social media, like the main like where everyone is on social media. So I guess you're gonna have to get used to Facebook. So yeah, that's just a bit of sort of practical advice that I have. If you have any more questions or anything, I guess like comment it or like message me, cause like I've only lived in St. Andrews for a year, but I have a lot of friends who have given me a lot of practical advice that really helped, especially keep me sane for my first year, even during all this craziness. So if I can survive it, you can too.